Hello, everyone. I wanted to take a quick moment to go through with you how you can be successful in math, how you can set yourself up to have a good year and not only do well in math, but also enjoy it and be challenged and feel like you really have grown in your math skills this year. Because I know at the beginning of the school year, at the beginning of a new semester, it can be, a little tricky. It can take a moment for you to kind of get back into that routine, to find a good schedule for yourself. So that way you're not getting unnecessarily stressed by, the work that you have. So what we're going to go through together is a suggested weekly routine, how I recommend you break the work down. And then we'll talk about what you can do when you need help. And then we'll go through all of the math assignments and explain exactly what they are and how many attempts you receive. So first off here, we have what I would recommend to you as your weekly routine. Because as you know, when you sign on to OMHS every Monday morning, on that your schedule tab on the left there, you have a whole list of things that are now open and available to you. Remember that those aren't the things that you all necessarily have to 100% complete on Monday. That's everything that is opening, that is starting. That is about 90% of your work for the entire week. There are a few things that don't open up until later in the week. I know math, for example, does this a lot because since math builds on itself, I would hate for you to do the work in the wrong order. I would hate for you to start off and do a quiz first thing before you even learned it because then you might run out of attempts. Or I would hate for you to hop on IXL before you've had a chance to learn it and get frustrated and just really get annoyed with that topic just because you're doing it in the wrong order because you haven't learned it yet. So you will notice that there are a few things for math that open later in the week, but they always open with that intention of that you're doing it after you've learned it, and there are still several days for you to complete it before that deadline of Friday. So remember, most of your work opens on a Monday, and you have the week to work on it. So because of that, there is some flexibility in the order at which you do your work. Like you could, start with math or you could start with science. You can kind of have that flexibility. So because of that, it makes it hard for some students. They're like, I'm not really sure what to work on or how much to do each day. So this is what I recommend. That on Monday for math, your focus is attending a small group if you have one, and then completing the Learn folder. That Learn folder is so important because the Learn folder is your asynchronous work. It's those independent lessons that supports what you do in your 2 whole group classes with me. That allows you to come to class prepared. It's going to make your whole group classes a lot easier, and it will make it a lot better for you to participate and work with us in the chat and be able to get your questions answered if you've done that Learn folder first. So that Learn folder is going to contain some YouTube videos. It'll have some textbook pages in it, maybe pages that you can go to in your textbook, or it could be, PDF copies of examples for you to look at. That allows you to go through that Learn folder on Monday and say, okay, from this independent work, I understand this, and this. But this one little piece I'm kind of fuzzy on. So I need to make sure to go to class and really listen in to see if my teacher explains it better. And then, whoa, this last part here, I am lost on. I need to go to class and make sure that if my teacher doesn't already explain it, I put a question in the chat to get an example on it because, whew, went over my head. So if you've done all of that, then on Tuesday, your 2 tasks are to attend whole group and then complete an exit ticket and an assignment. So then when you go to that whole group, it's not going to seem so overwhelming because you are prepared. You already have a little bit of knowledge on what we're going to go over. And then when you get with your teacher, we can have a chance to practice all of that in a safe space. So you can get practice with it. You can get some challenge problems. We can maybe go a little bit farther and do kind of those tougher ones, do some word problems together. And it will really be able to fully make sure you understand that material and extend on that. And then after class, an exit ticket and an assignment will open up. As I referenced earlier, those two things won't be available until Tuesday. And the goal is that you complete them after class because they're going to be over exactly what we just learned. So you will be prepped and ready to do them. Then on Wednesday, you'll attend your second whole group so you can finish up practicing what you learned in the Learn folder with your teacher. And then you'll complete the exit ticket and assignment that opens up on that day. And once again, those two things are directly related to what you learned in class on Wednesday. So I encourage you after class to get those completed. Then on Thursday for math, if you've done all of the above, all you would need to do would be attend your small group if you have one. And then Friday, look at Friday. Friday's just double checking that your work is done. The way I've set up this schedule is the goal is that by the end of Thursday, all your math work is done. That has two benefits. One, that means Friday can maybe be a little bit lighter of a day. It can be a little bit of a reward for you getting all of your work done Monday through Thursday. Or Friday can be that buffer day. You can be like, "Oh, Mrs. Yelstock, I had some extra meetings this week, or I had a project in another class, or just something at home came up." So then that gives you a buffer day. That gives you a day to be able to complete anything that you didn't already get done earlier that week and still have it due before it becomes overdue and by that Friday deadline. All right, let's talk about those weekly assignments that you're going to get. Because when you first open up that folder, it may look a little overwhelming. So let's do a little breakdown. So, one thing that you're going to get every week, and it will open on a Monday, is a bell ringer. That is a review assignment, and it does not hurt your grade. That is an assignment that's well, it's review. So it's over something that you should have learned last year. But I know that sometimes, maybe you were in a different class last year and therefore it wasn't, something that you learned, or maybe you did, but you didn't understand it very well, or you just simply forgot it. So that review is going to tell both you and me whether you remember that information. So if you remember it, awesome, you are set and you will be ready for the upcoming lessons in math. If you don't remember it, then I will make sure that I have a small group that happens either in the next week or two after you've completed that review so we can go over that together. We can practice it and make sure that you really understand that. And even though by you answering the questions and getting them right or wrong, that will tell both you and your teacher whether or not you understand it. That final question on the review always has you rate yourself. It has you say, yes, I completely got this, and I maybe got some questions right, but I still would like more practice with you. Or, whoa, I don't remember this at all. So that will allow you to really tell your teacher whether or not you need and are wanting to be in that small group where we'll do some extra review and extra some practice on that skill. And remember, just do your best because it's not going to hurt your grade. It's us just figuring out, what we need to do so I can better help you. All right, now on to the things that you do get a grade for. The first thing we're going to talk about is exit tickets. You will have 2 exit tickets a week after each one of your whole group classes. Those exit tickets are very short. They're only 2 questions and they're worth 1.5 points each. With those exit tickets, that is the one assignment that you will not get any extra attempts on. It is locked at 2 and only 2 attempts. With the questions on the exit ticket, the first one is going to be related to vocab. It's essentially going to be, what did you learn today? Did you learn about volume? Did you learn about integers? What is it that you learned? Tell me. And then the second question is going to be a very short one from our lesson that day that allows you to practice. So it gives both you and me a little quick check to say, hey, do you remember what we did in class today? Did you understand one of those basic concepts? So when you do the exit ticket, because you know that you only are going to get 2 attempts, after you've taken it once, if you aren't happy with your score, Before you take it again, make sure you go back and look at the notes. Those can either be the notes that you physically took during class, or you can look at the notes that I've uploaded and say, okay, what is the title of these notes? What's the topic? What did we learn? And then look through those examples. And you can use those notes when you take that exit ticket a second time to make sure that you're happy with your score. All right, quizzes. You will typically have one quiz a week. It can be anywhere between 5 to 7 questions, so 5 to 7 points. And those start off with 2 attempts. For these, if you do need another attempt, the requirement is that you will either come to a small group that you're invited to or a help session. The reason for that is I don't want you to just keep trying it over and over again and just basically end up getting frustrated and guessing. I want you to understand it. I want you to learn from your mistakes. So if you've done it twice, you're not happy with your score, you have like a D or an F, then come to a small group or a help session and we will work together on it. We'll learn from those mistakes. We'll figure out what is that missing piece that's needed to get you to really understand this and then do well on the quiz. And after you've had that, um, you know, work through with me or your teacher, then you can have another attempt unlocked. Same goes for the unit tests. Those are initially going to be set at 1 attempt, and in order to be able to take them again, you'll need to come to a small group or a help session so we can work through those problems that you missed and we can learn from those mistakes together so you can really understand it and rock it out and do a great job. Last thing to talk about is IXL assignments. You will typically have one IXL assignment each week. So your week will usually consist of one quiz and one IXL assignment as your larger graded assignments. For that, remember that you need to sign into IXL in order for me to see your score. And when you're working on it, a SMART score of an 80 is equal to 100%. So a SMART score of a 60 is a C, a SMART score of a 70 is a D, and then a SMART score of an 80 is that 100% A. If you go above and beyond that, you're getting into the challenge zone and you can get an extra credit point. But you don't have to do that if you either don't want to or you don't have time to. Working to that 80 SMART score is always your goal in IXL. All right, now what to do when you need help. If you're working on an assignment and you are stuck, first thing you should do is make sure you've done all of the learning. Make sure you've done the learn folder. You've attended your whole group classes or gone back and watched the recordings if you need to. Make sure that you've prepped yourself to actually understand the material. And if you've done all that and you're still stuck and it happens to be an IXL assignment, check out the help video I've made for you or one of the other teachers has. It is there for every single IXL assignment. There is a help video there that hops on IXL and goes through some example problems with you. So that way, if you're struggling with the directions or you just are a visual person and need to see someone walk through a couple, watch that help video. It really can be like a mini lesson and benefit a lot of students and help answer a lot of your questions. But maybe you're like, it helped with a few Mrs. Ale stock, but I got to some tricky ones, or maybe you need help with the quiz. Third thing you should do is come to a weekly help session. There will be one help session each week for math for you. And if you've already missed it, then make sure you come to the one next week. You can always go back and improve your grade by coming to a weekly help session and asking for questions on those assignments if the help session's already passed. But let me kind of backtrack to our schedule. That's the reason that I recommend on Tuesday you work on assignments and Wednesday you do. Because if you start the assignments, then that'll let you know whether or not you understand it or you have questions. And then that gives you time before Friday to come to that help session and ask for help. If you need more assistance or that help session is passed, email your teacher. Maybe it's a question that we're able to quickly answer with an email response, or we can say, hey, we're going to be working on that on Monday, or make sure you come to the next help session. I will definitely help you. Or maybe it's something we have a video for and we can send you a little video tutorial. So always be communicating, always be reaching out if you need help. Okay, at this point in the video, if you know where to find all of these things I've referenced, so class notes, the Learn folder, help videos, your graded assignments, if you know where to find all of that in OMHS, you can stop watching this video, and I hope that this was a help to you in knowing how you can schedule out your week so that way the math is chunked out, done in the right order, and a little less, stressful so you can have a good year. But if you're not sure where those things are that I referenced, hang with me. I'm going to hop on over to OMHS and show you exactly where to find all of that stuff. Okay, here we are on OMHS in your math class. The first thing that I want to point out to you is when you get into your math class, scroll down a little bit and check out the weekly announcements. The weekly announcements is another way for you to see in a nice little order everything you need to do just for math. It's posted every Monday, and you can see your live class schedule. You can see when your help session is going to be for that week, your weekly lesson. So that's where you find all of your work, especially that Learn folder, and then any bell ringer and exit tickets, and the assignments that are your normal weekly assignments and that have that grade attached to them as well. All of these links will take you straight to that assignment, but remember that if it's, a Monday and you're clicking on this exit ticket, it's going to say it's unavailable. It's not going to work yet, and that's because it's not open. It's something that you have to complete after you attend class. So if you don't want to use these links, or you just want to see where all of your work is, because then you can always go back to things in the past, scroll on up, and you can find all of your work in the content section. So that little blue banner at the top, click on content. And when that loads, it's always going to pick up wherever you last were at, wherever you last left off. So if we scroll down and we look off to the side, we saw on our newsletter in that class announcements page that this week we're working on 101. So that first number tells you the unit. So you open up unit 1, and then 101 means it's the first week in that unit, and it'll continue on 102, etc. When you open up that 101 folder, you'll see that there's a Learn portion, a Practice portion, and then your graded assignments. Your Learn portion, that's what I'm encouraging you guys to try to get done on Monday. Get it done before you come to live whole group on Tuesday and Wednesday. Within the Learn folder, notice it's split into a couple sections. That way, if you're like, okay, I can't finish all of this on Monday, I have some other work that I need to do for other classes. Okay, that's fine. See if you can get the first folder done on Monday, because that first folder is what you're going to learn on Tuesday. Then the second folder is what we're going to practice and work on together on Wednesday. So you could get this portion of the Learn folder done on Monday, and you'd be ready for Tuesday's class. You can get this portion done on Tuesday, and then you'd be ready for Wednesday's class. All right, so if you need to, just complete half of it on Monday, and then the second half on Tuesday. That'll help get you ready for whole group. This practice section then is just that. It's practice. It doesn't hurt your grade at all. It's a chance for you to work on some problems, maybe even some problems that are a bit of an extension, a bit of a challenge. So you can kind of see whether you're understanding it, whether you need to ask some questions. It kind of helps you know whether or not you're going to be prepped and ready to do the assignments that are graded, that affect your grade. And here's where you can find them all. Currently, all of these assignments are blue, and that's because they are open, they are available to you. If you were looking at this on a Monday, you would see that most of these, instead of them being a blue link, they would just be in black font because they're not available for you to open yet. But when you're in this view, you can see when they will open, when they'll be available to you. You see when it opens on the 15th and it's due on the 18th. You see this one opens on the 16th due on the 18th. So you're able to see when you will get to access that assignment. For the exit tickets, when you open them up, since those are the assignment that you cannot take more than 2 times, I've put a little reminder here for you that says after you go to live class, or if you had a doctor's appointment and you need to watch the recording, after you've watched the recording, complete this exit ticket. You only have 2 attempts. Refer to your class notes if you need to before taking it for a second and final time. And this blue link will take you straight to those notes. All right, let's check out the IXL assignment so you can see where that help video is for you. When you open up the IXL assignment in OMHS, it will look like this. Looks like it's being a little slow to load. But you will have a direct link straight to IXL. And then if you're already signed into IXL, this link will take you to the specific assignment. But most students have found that they just like to sign into IXL and then go to the search bar and type in the code to get to the assignment. If you're working on it and you need help, right here is the help video that I was referring to. If you have access to YouTube, this will take you straight. It'll let you watch it right there from YouTube. And if YouTube is blocked for you, this link should work because it's removed any ads or anything like that. So no matter what, you can access those help videos and get the help you need. And then if you scroll down, this graphic right here goes through how to get to IXL with some pictures, and it reminds you of the rubric of a SMART score equals this percentage in the gradebook. All right, next up is the class notes. Even though there was that direct link in your exit ticket to the notes, maybe you want to be looking at your notes before you do it a first time, or you want to be referencing your notes because you were so busy participating in class and working on that Nearpod with us that you missed getting a section written down in your notebook. You can always open up the class notes folder. It'll be one folder for the entire unit, and your notes will be placed in order, and you'll see that they will start and become available after class is done. So 101A and 101B, A is the notes from Tuesday, B is the notes from Wednesday. And so you can click on that. And if you're, working on your exit ticket, you can see that first page is like the title page. It says these notes are going to cover negative exponents and product property. That's the topic. Might even be your vocab word. And then as you go through, you will see that it's exactly what we did in class with all of the answers in there for you. And if it's a problem that has multiple steps, all of the steps have been worked out so you can see how that answer was achieved as well. All right, the final thing I want to show you is if you need a little bit more help than this, I have some other help videos for you. So the very first unit in the content tab is course materials and orientation. There's a lot of great stuff in here. There's direct links to the textbooks, our school plagiarism policy, a picture of just the weekly schedule for math, and then some awesome videos. This one goes even more in depth on how to work OMHS and some other tips on how to organize your week. Here's a video on how to watch live class recordings, how to use IXL and find your assignments, and then one on posting discussions. So there's several tutorial and how-to videos in here for you. All right, I hope this helps. I hope this allows you to be able to set your next week up for success so it can be an even better week. And if you have any questions, as always, reach out to your teachers. We are more than happy to help you. Bye.